Hey there, Breakfast Clubbers. I'm your host, Kelly Guentner of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, and it's been a while. Johnny and Creeley have been taking good care of you, though. I know, I've been watching the episodes. So, today, I'm here to talk to you about Kelly Thompson's Black Widow. And it took me a while to do this review because I kind of didn't like the first volume. I really, really wanted to. It's Kelly Thompson, who is one of my favorite comic writers, and Black Widow, who, if you didn't notice, is one of my favorite characters. So the fact that I didn't like volume one kind of broke my heart. But let's talk about the good stuff first. And, try not to get my ring light reflection too much. Good stuff, the art, fantastic. So let's go through this all-star artist panel. We have Elena Casagrande and Rafael de la Torre, who are the artists. Jordi Belair is color artist. And then we have different artists on flashback art, and that's Carlos Gomez and Federico Blay. And they are all fantastic. I haven't heard of any of them, and they're all, that's on me, but I love when books do different artwork for flashback. Corey Pettit does lettering, and of course Adam Hughes is cover artist. I love his cover art. So we start off with this absolutely dynamic action scene, just stunning. And I'm just going to say the reason I didn't like this book is mainly because the Black Widow book, she was incidental is the wrong word. She was passive in the story. She was a damsel to be rescued for most of the story. The story centers around her, a little bit of a spoiler alert, but the story centers around her losing her memories. And we have Hawkeye and Winter Soldier, Clint and Bucky realizing that, Natasha's gone off the grid, which is normal for her, but they realize that she walked across the camera in the news, and that is not normal for her. And from there, they go to track her down and realize that she has a fiance and a kid, and she's happy. Not normal for her. And she doesn't seem to remember who she is. So then they kind of launch a rescue, which I love. Another good thing, I love the dynamic between Hawkeye and Winter Soldier in this. They have never fully gotten along. They're both Natasha's exes, and but so they're kind of, it's an interesting dynamic. It's fun. It's really fun, and there's great humor in it. And I'm not going to spoil any more than that, but another character shows up who is really well done and is my favorite part of the book. And that character shows up to help rescue Natasha. And, Natasha does have some good moments, but it wasn't my favorite. However, it set up the storyline that Kelly wanted to tell. And I could see what it was setting up, but it also laid on more trauma to a character that already, in my opinion, has plenty of trauma to build on. So for me, I didn't think that was necessary. Like, obviously characters have to suffer for story, but there's plenty of trauma to dig into. However, book 2 was wonderful. In book 2, we have Natasha recovering from said traumas, and we have her building her own little team, which is just fantastic. We have her working with Yelena, and again, the art, just awesome. Same art team, really good. And the idea of Natasha just kind of taking her, picking a neighborhood, going, okay, I'm going to build my own little team and do some good. I love it. It's a fresh take on the character. It's something that hasn't been done with her. Her and Yelena working together and exploring their interesting sisterhood dynamic is really a smart move. It's good storytelling, but it's also a smart move because of what we saw in the MCU. And for those who are more familiar with the MCU version as opposed to the comics, Natasha and Yelena have a very different backstory than in the MCU, but they still do have a sort of bond of sisterhood that's developed in a very different way. So they did not grow up together. They were not raised as sisters, but Yelena was instead brought into the Black Widow program long after Natasha got out, and Natasha and Yelena was basically brought in to be Natasha's replacement. So Yelena tried to kill Natasha several times, thinking that she had to do that to prove that she could be the Black Widow. And then in turn, Natasha saw something of a young version of herself in Yelena and sought to try to save Yelena from the Black Widow program. There's a lot of layers to the comic version of their dynamic that I adore. I love both versions so much. I can't choose which I love more. But if you this book really bridges the gap, I think. So if you saw the Black Widow movie and thought, hey, I really want to see more of Yelena and Natasha kicking butt together, this is where you should go. Definitely where you should go. You could absolutely skip volume 1 if, like me, it doesn't sound like your cup of tea. Volume 2 fills you in enough. I highly recommend skipping volume 1 personally. That's just me, unless you really want to see some awesome Clint and Bucky interaction. However, volume 2, awesome read. Very awesome read. There's a few characters beyond Yelena and Natasha that show up and kick butt. I cannot wait to check out volume 3 and see where this series goes. I love what it's building. I'm glad I stuck it out and tried volume 2 after I was so disappointed in volume 1. So that's my review. I want to hear from you. I missed conversing with you all. I missed hearing from you. I want to hear what you're reading this week. If you read this book, I want to hear your dissenting opinions. I want to hear if you agreed with my opinion. I want to hear, I know I've asked this before, but do you have a favorite Black Widow story? Let me know in the comments. And please do click the like and subscribe buttons and share this with 100 or 200 of your closest friends. Every little bit helps. So I hope you all have a good week and happy reading.